Hello and welcome to another episode of A Ghost in the Magazine. I'm Steph.
I'm Sadie.
We're doing Saw 5.
Yeah.
You tired? Because I'm tired. We're doing Saw
Yeah, I'm tired. It's a lot.
5. Yeah. All right. So, the first Saw, I've said this a lot in the past couple of days.
Mhm.
The first Saw was incredibly fun.
Yes.
And then it gets less fun for me, and they start
Yeah, it gets
people.
more gratuitous and more convoluted and a lot harder to follow
Yeah,
after a while.
speaking of hard to follow, I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Mhm.
In this movie. All
Mhm.
I know is that he just keeps finding people. Uh,
Mhm.
John, not Connor, keeps finding people who are
John Kramer.
who he
Mhm.
knows
John
all
Connor did again.
he knows all this stuff, but he keeps finding people who, have
Yeah, that's true. But it's mostly his flunkies, I believe, at this point that are like finding people.
oh yeah, because he's like a cult. And
Yeah, so he's got his people, Mark Hoffman, and who is daddy but also evil. And
I'm tired.
yeah.
Hoffman, was that this one or was that
Yeah.
Jigsaw?
Well, Mark Hoffman gets introduced in this one, I believe, because he
Oh,
has a lot to do with the first trap, the pendulum one, because he pretended to be Jigsaw to kill that guy.
okay. Can we just talk about the traps?
Yeah, we can. Absolutely. So it
Traps.
opens with the pendulum trap, which is Mark Hoffman pretending to be Jigsaw because the guy killed his sister. So he's
Right.
strapped to the table. He's got to destroy his hands in these two little boxes to get the pendulums to stop because he's laying flat on the table. Pendulum swinging, coming down towards him, will cut him in half if he doesn't. However, trap is rigged. He's not meant to get out of it. So he does what he's supposed to do. Pendulum never stops. He gets murdered.
Right. Okay. So this whole rigged traps thing.
Yeah.
How,
That was the whole problem in Saw 3 is because like that was never John's thing. But he keeps getting apprentices that are just like fucking crazy or
right.
like people who are crazy. And Mark wasn't an apprentice when he did this, but this is what got him into apprenticing is that he
Get
did
off
this
me.
elaborate shit. But it's like
Oh,
you knew he was capable of murder. Why would you even bring him in? Like
and he knows that this is like a repeated problem. And it
yeah.
also does this thing where it kind of, I guess, helps to elevate John in this
Yeah.
this world as like this I don't know,
Like
holier than
serial killer.
thou vigilante serial killer guy because he's the only one quote unquote capable of doing the thing without being corrupted and rigging shit, but that's not even true.
Yeah, it's not because you let it keep happening and you do nothing about it. And you
And
just
he
like,
doesn't really give people a choice. It's not
no,
really
he doesn't.
here.
And if there is a choice, it's never the obvious choice, especially when it's like panic inducing situations. Like you're not giving people enough of a chance really to figure out what the fuck is going on before you're like, you need to do XYZ. And I'm like, okay.
Right, because he says some like convoluted shit, and you're like, you're in this distress situation, and he's
Right.
like, "Oh, you're gonna get my riddle," and that's how you're
Like when I first wake up in the morning and someone asks me a question and that sentence made no sense at all, and I'm like, huh? Like,
or I'll say yeah.
yeah, then I'll be like, wait, what'd you say? Like, my auditory processing is off, and I know it's going to be off if I'm also having a panic attack. Like, what do you
Right,
want?
like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die, or like my life is in the hands of strangers
Yeah,
who are
exactly.
out for themselves. So this
It,
one's interesting though because it's there's 5 people
yeah, I believe it's like one of the first group traps that they introduced in
that
the entire.
pisses me off. The
Yeah,
group
it
trap.
made me so mad the whole movie, the whole time.
Because, like, my luck, no, I would rather it just depend on me. Maybe one other person, like, we can figure.
Yeah, but like you got five selfish ass people who are in here for selfish ass reasons, and you expect them to be like, yeah, we all should totally work together, even though we don't fucking know each other at all. Like,
Right. And I just assume that everybody's shitty and everybody's going to be out for
yeah,
themselves.
exactly.
So, like, I don't want anything to do with that. So, spoiler alert,
Mhm.
he has set all of this up. It's designed for them to work together. And to me, he literally tells them that.
He does tell them that, but they don't listen, and that's part of the problem with a lot of these movies. Is like sometimes sometimes his instructions don't make any sense. And sometimes he tells you exactly what you should be doing, and then all of you choose not to listen anyway.
Yes.
That is
He's
just like,
literally like, whatever you think of doing, do the fucking opposite.
exactly.
Everyone's automatically gonna think, how do I get myself out of this situation? As opposed to, all right, everybody use your big brains for a second. Look around, let's talk to each other, let's figure this shit out. Nobody has to.
Absolutely. It's just like there's no reason that you shouldn't like try to figure out how to save everyone. I, as much as I don't know these people and I'm all about my own life, I'm like, I don't think we any of us should be stuck in this fucking situation. Like,
Nobody
how do we
deserves
get
this
out of
except
here?
for John Kramer.
Exactly. But
You know
that's
what I
because
mean?
he's a psychopath. Like he's an
Okay.
unhealthy man.
So,
And
all
then,
right, I'm
yeah.
trying to like remember the things. So the
Mhm.
water cube, it's with the guy.
Yeah, the police officer that was investigating what happened in what is it like no, Saw 3. So he's looking for that little girl that's
Ah,
stuck in that
Jeff's
building.
daughter.
Yeah, Jeff's daughter. He wakes up with the cube that's on his head that's attached to a bunch of water pumps and will slowly fill with water and drown him. And this is another one that Mark Hoffman puts him in because he doesn't like that the cop is sniffing around and getting a little bit too close
Can
to
I
what's
tell
going
you
on.
a secret?
But
I thought this officer and Hoffman were the same guy.
oh yeah, when I first saw this movie, I was like, these are two different people. And I was
Right.
like, oh yeah,
Because when
no.
Hoffman was outside talking, I was like, didn't he just stab himself in the throat? Where is it?
Yeah, exactly. No, so Hoffman's got it out for this cop because basically after a while, Hoffman uses Jigsaw's methods to just go after police officers he can't fucking stand. So the guy does get
Get
out
it?
of the water cube in like his own way because he wasn't meant to get out of it at all, but he manages to.
Because who else would freaking stab
Even through the
themselves in the throat?
tracheotomy, not me.
Yeah. I never, it wouldn't even have crossed my, I was, well,
I
time to
guess I'm drowning.
I
Like
guess
that's
that's
the end of
it.
it. But he's like, that the obsessive. So like I guess I get it because he's like, this shit needs to end. And if I gotta mutilate myself a little bit to get this shit to stop, then fine.
I
Like
guess that's fine.
I'm not that obsessive. Like so sorry.
No. Okay.
Right.
So then, okay, so you have the Fatal Five
Yeah.
trial.
And that's the whole like really the main part of the movie because like you said, with the style of these movies, you have your main piece and then you have like all
The
of your parts
side piece.
that's happening on at the same time. So the Fatal Five, the only reason they're all in this trap is because they're all involved with the cover up of a fire that killed some people in an apartment complex so they could build a new apartment complex and rent
Which,
those
like,
out. Mhm.
admittedly,
It's fucked up. Mhm.
shady.
Yeah.
Admittedly shady. But I mean, like, the
Mhm.
world, there's so much shady shit going on in the
Yeah,
world.
it's like, how do you know it's these people specifically? How did you figure that out? Like, who is your private detective?
I,
It's not Adam. He's
it's
fucking
not Adam.
dead. Like, so who's doing this? But yeah, so they're all stuck in here, and he tells them basically, like, this is blah, blah, blah. You all have a connection. He doesn't tell them what the connection is, but he
Yeah.
does make it clear that in order for them to all survive, they need to work together, which none of them do. But you figure
No,
out along the way that all of them were supposed to do survive everything because, like, the first trap is the neck trap, and that's what they wake up in the necktie trap, which is the saw blades behind them that is slowly dragging them back to decapitation. In front of all five of them are glass boxes with keys. They realize they can't all move at the same time. So they start gunning for whoever can get to the keys at first to get their neck collars off. Eventually, Blondie at the end, whose name I can't remember because she lasted all of 10 seconds, gets decapitated because she couldn't get to her key.
yeah,
But
sorry.
you find out all the fucking keys were the same. So only one of them needed to get to the key.
That was so messed up. That was so
Yeah.
messed up,
So only
man.
one of them needed to get to the key and then just pass the key around and they'd all been fine.
It's diabolical. But I
Yeah.
just feel like he doesn't operate that way all the time. You know what I mean? And like, so if you're familiar with all of the Jigsaw killings or whatever, like just vaguely like aware
Mhm.
of what they are, you're not going to think that at
No,
all.
you're gonna think it's all about I gotta get myself out. Anyone who knows him knows that he doesn't give a fuck about like group traps and making people work together. He hates people.
He's also a
Like
shitty old man,
yeah,
okay? He's just a shitty fucking old man.
really is. And he fucks with their head a lot through this because like once
Hater.
girl in the black hair, whose name I forget, figures out that all the keys were the same, but she didn't tell anybody.
He's hardcore.
Yeah, she's just like, I'm gonna keep it to myself. But yeah, so they figure that out. They move into the next room, and that's the sealing jars. And so that room seals off. Every trap is in a different room that seals off with a locked door and a timer. So like they have to keep advancing forward. There is no going backwards or staying
Right.
in the room they were in because it will be poisonous gas if they don't move, basically.
Poisonous gas, nail bombs. I'm sick
Yeah.
of it.
But yeah, so the room is filled with nail bombs. There's jars on the ceiling. And on the side you can see in your picture there's those little tunnel holes. So there's corresponding keys with shapes that they've got to get out of the jars to crawl into the holes to avoid the bombs that are going to go off and kill all of them. And so only 4 of them make it out of that room because no, only 3 of them, right? Because there's 5 originally. So 3 of them make it out of that room because they didn't want to share tunnels with anybody. So
Right.
Baldy
And this
parachute.
guy dies, I
Yeah,
think.
that guy dies. But
Baldy.
you find out like they could have all fit in the tubes if they had just shared.
Caring is caring, okay?
Yeah.
Especially
Um,
in a life or death jigsaw situation. Just fucking
yeah.
share.
They basically start fighting in this room because they're like smashing the glass and grabbing the keys, and the guy is like, "Get off me!" And I think Megan at one point creams him good with like a crowbar so she can get a key. Like,
Yeah, they get very hostile. I just don't see myself being in a situation unless you hit me where I'm just gonna start doing violence.
I don't think I would immediately go for that. I would just shove myself in the tube with you, whether you like it or not. Like,
Right.
and that was the thing when they were like kicking each other out. I'm like, what difference do you think it's going to make if you're both in there? Like,
Nothing. And my
like,
thing is, I'm gonna squeeze myself in there, and if you try to kick me out, I'm attaching myself to you like a spider monkey.
right, I will bite into you.
This,
I'm not
right?
going anywhere.
Butt hooked, legs wrapped around you, just accept it, stink
Yeah.
this
So like it's
together.
just crazy because like that trap pissed me off the most because as I was watching it, I was like, there is literally room for all of you. Like there's no reason that you need to be doing any of this.
Okay, but like the electric bathtub
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up.
pissed me. Obviously, I want Megan Good to win
I
because
want a final girl that is black and awesome
yeah,
and
she's
yeah,
black, she's fine, she's Megan
yeah,
Good. Okay, I feel like they did her dirty.
they really did do
Um,
dirty.
and this bitch, like she was so gung ho stabbing her in the neck like that.
Yeah,
So like when all of a sudden did you decide, well, I'm a murderer too?
right. And my thing was is like Megan was really trying like her character was really trying to get everyone to like work together and like figure it out. And I guess that's the reason they decided to kill her because like obviously they thought she was gonna fuck something up for them. But basically, yeah, so the bathtub is there are 5 different generators that generate electricity. They need to generate enough electricity to get the lock on the door to open. So idealistically, if they had listened in the first place, all 5 of them would have been able to hold a prong to get the door open and receive a minor zap.
Yeah.
Which how
And like
you calculate that, I'm not really sure because I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
they all would have passed out, but that's okay. But instead, they end up stabbing Megan's character, throwing her in the bathtub, and putting every single hook into her body
Poked
to,
her in the neck, stabbed her in the
yep,
leg, clippity clip.
yep,
It,
electrocuted her to death to open the door. Mhm.
it was just a lot for me. And
Yeah,
then it's when they get to the last trap or the next trap that they're like,
they
oh my
realized they
God.
shouldn't have done any of that. Yeah.
Like, what? So maybe after all, you guys are all pieces of shit.
I think that might have been one of the points he was trying to prove is like, well, you're either going to be a piece of shit or you're going to be a piece of shit. Like, sorry, but I told
Right.
you.
Or if you're actually not pieces of shit, then you'll all make it out if you're alive.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why he went this route for
Maybe,
it.
yeah. I just feel like that's so much coordination and work that like who the fuck would want to do any of this?
Hello, why would anyone want to do
Like
any of this?
like what does the Google Calendar look like on the kidnapping of all 5 of these people, first of all? And then
I
like
don't
getting
want
all
to know.
this shit set up. It's
It sounds
crazy.
like a huge waste of my fucking time.
Yeah, exactly. But like the last trap, that really like for them really shows you that they were all supposed to work together because the last trap is 10 Pints of Sacrifice, which is just a giant box across the room with razors, like what is it,
Yeah,
like
but
saw
like,
blades
yeah,
going, and blood collection jars. So they need to collect a total of 10 pints of blood to fill the jar to open it,
right.
which that amount of blood from one person or 2 people would idealistically kill them, but from
Yeah.
5 people it's only a little bit. So there's only 2 of them left at this point, and they really fucking go for it. They send it, like they're gonna do it, and it's
Okay.
nasty. But
They do, but like at the same time, why does it have to be fucking circular, like electric circular saws that do?
you like put some alcohol and benzoyl peroxide on them, it's fine.
Like it just made my like all everything that's outside my body want to like crawl up
Yeah,
inside.
no, it's pretty gnarly, and the way they shoot it too, it just makes it feel like so long because it would take that long for you to get that amount of blood. It's fucking torturous. Those blades hurt, and you can watch as they're like starting with these tiny little in between the finger pieces, and then just keep going further and further until like they've
Oh,
sawed their fucking hands in half. It's gross. But they managed to live, so there's that. Those last two, but what's a life after all that fucking trauma? Not a
no,
goddamn
like
thing.
no. Okay,
It's
so
all
like
pointless.
so that's happening, but then I'm like, around
We
this guy.
got Mark Hoffman's shotgun chair because Jigsaw figured out he's the one who did the pendulum trap and used his name in vain.
Oh, he was like, shoddy work. You're not gonna blame this on me because it's mediocre.
Right,
And
it's mediocre. I would never set someone up to die. Blah 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 blah.
you're like,
His
okay, John.
fake moral superiority. So I can't remember exactly how it was, but I know he's like leaned back in a chair. I don't even think the gun is loaded. He's just scaring the shit out of him because
Yeah, because he pulls it and it doesn't do anything.
yeah. But that was basically Mark Hoffman's recruitment moment. He's like, if you're gonna pretend to be me, then you're just gonna fucking work for me. So that was more of a blackmail thing because he's like, I am going to get a new apprentice, or you're going to prison, like, or you're gonna die. One of the two. Mark Hoffman chose columns B, like for some weird fucking reason. He's like, yeah, I'll work for this psychopath.
He's an emotionally unstable guy.
Oh,
So
absolutely. You can't be that attractive and be emotionally stable. There are two modes.
those are
Like,
rules.
no, those are the rules. You can't be the hot bad cop and be emotionally stable. Like those don't.
No, it just doesn't work. That only works for women.
Right,
Sorry.
exactly. And then it ends really in my ultimate favorite trap of the one of my like of the series because it's just so mind fucky that you didn't expect it to go the way it did. Is that Mark Hoffman leads this cop on a chase through the building after he gets out of the water cube, and this is back in the Saw 3 warehouse where all that shit went down. And in the middle of the room is this glass coffin. And there's a tape in there, and he's like, you have to get in this box to live. But like obviously the cop isn't fucking buying that because it seems like a trap, and he believes it's a trap. So then he gets into a physical fight with Mark Hoffman and shoves Mark Hoffman into the box thinking that he won. But the glass coffin starts to descend into the floor, and the room starts to shrink and shrink and shrink until
Bro,
it crushes this man to death.
literally that scene was crazy. I was so like I had such a bad anxiety watching it. I'm like,
Oh, I hated it every second of it. But I thought the execution of it was beautiful because he literally was like, get in the box and you'll be fine. And that cop was like, I don't fucking believe you. And so he really thought he got one over on Mark when he shoved him into that fucking coffin, but he didn't.
when his little arm bone said,
Yep. Being crushed alive, and you can see him like try to climb to the top of the room, like that's gonna make any goddamn difference.
I'm like,
Like,
oh, maybe he can kick his way out. No,
nope,
he can't.
he's gonna die in
doomed.
it. He just had to get in the box. That's all he had to
Get in
do.
the box.
Didn't. So Mark used the box and he got away safely. Cop gets crushed to death. Yeah.
Mark. Damn it, Mark.
Mark is actually pretty smart and conniving, but it's the
No,
most
he is.
fucked up way. But
He is, but I'm just like, ugh, I hate that. And they played it twice, like where he's talking to him, he's like, nobody made it out alive.
right.
Except for man. And he's like,
Yeah,
okay, well, now I gotta fix that.
exactly. It's exactly. But yeah, I did. That was one of my favorites, just the way they filmed it and the way like you got this anticipation where you're like, yeah, get him in the box. And then you're like, oh shit, no, you were supposed to get in the box if you wanted to get out of this room. I'm like, damn, that's pretty fucked up.
Not into it. As far as saws go, not my favorite.
Mine either. No, the teamwork thing really pissed me off because that's not something that he's really ever done before. And then it also just pissed me off because none of these people were even remotely willing to just like fucking listen and try and work together to get out of there. They
Yeah.
were all too busy trying to protect their secrets and themselves when
Keep your secrets, bro. Like,
right, you're in a life or death situation. I don't think the secrets matter at this point, but
sitting here thinking like I know where he's scooping these people up, but I'm just like I feel very content with my
Mhm,
life knowing that John Kramer could never snatch me up for anything. I'm
right.
innocent.
Same. I've
Yeah.
like even if you did, I'm not playing your stupid little game. I'm
I
just
will
gonna
sit
sit here.
here and I'll just rot.
Right, exactly. I'm not doing this. All
No,
right.
you're
Do
not the
whatever.
boss of me, John Kramer.
Exactly. I'm not doing that. Fuck you. I'm out. So
Period.
yeah. Overall, it's not my favorite one, like at all. I do like the glass coffin a lot just because that one is sort of a mind fuck. But other than that, like the teamwork traps lost me. The pendulum trap wasn't as cool as I hoped it would be because
Oh, the
again,
guts everywhere.
yeah,
Water. That was just excessive for me.
it
It
was
made my tummy hurt.
yeah,
I love Megan Good. And honestly, this lady, even though she was actually ended up being kind of a psychopath, hot.
yeah. Yeah, a hot psychopath. She was in it to win it, and she was gonna get the fuck out, no matter what she had to do.
Yeah, these dudes are like nothing dudes.
Stupid.
Always.
They're so dumb. Men are always just like bash stuff in first, ask questions later, and she's like, "Nah, I'm using my brains on this one. Not the right ones, but I'm definitely
No,
gonna."
A for effort. So,
Yep, safe effort, but not my favorite.
all right, let's wrap her up.
All right.
Um, well, you can find this podcast on the interwebs at ghostinthemagazine.site or on Twitter at GITM Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at witchxpudding.
I'm on Twitter at Sadee B.
Okay, bye.
Bye.